Welcome to our show, everybody. This is Far From Finished. I am your host, Daniel.
And I'm Josh. Why are you spacing your words out so much?
Just for dramatic effect.
You're weird.
Hey, thank you. You're great.
I know.
You're an amazing person.
I do what I can.
Glad to be on the show with you, man.
Hey, man, I do what I can.
Before we get started,
Sometimes that includes showing up.
well, you do that barely, but I'm proud of you.
Hey, man.
Each little effort counts, man.
I'll take it.
I'm glad you're here today.
You're welcome.
Well, before we get started, I'd like to give a quick shout out to our team that makes this possible right now. This video, this audio, helping us, work our way through the hoops. I guess if that's the way of putting it, I don't know exactly. But shouts out Chance Maynard and Joel Teagues real quick. And if you have the time, I'm sorry, I was trying to be really dramatic for effect.
You're a dickhead.
I know. All right, but no, if you have the time, go follow them on Twitter at Teagues TV. And then also at Fatality. That's going to be FAY, by the way. At Fatality Live. All together. Go give them a follow. They do an amazing job at what they do. Shouts out to you guys. We love you. Thank you for everything that you do or have done.
Appreciate you all for tuning in once again. We're back at it with another episode here in our beautiful studio that we have come up on collectively. Chance and Joel are helping us out with the location as well as the audio and visual equipment and techniques that they're putting back behind that fucking board over there.
They're mixing and scratching.
Well, I don't know about that.
They're doing some stuff.
They're not DJs. Yet. I'm sure that they
maybe. I'm sure they could be if they wanted to.
Yeah, and you can do anything you set your mind to.
Sky's the limit. Well, you can't put anything. You can't do anything you set your mind to.
I think you can.
Think you can pee out your ears if you put your mind to it?
If you put pee in your ears first, you can pour it back out.
But it's not peeing from, I guess, technically.
It's peeing out of your ears, no?
Well, you can do anything you put your mind to, everybody.
There you go, buddy.
Sky's the limit.
Don't pee out of your ears.
Fair enough. All right, so we set a challenge now that we're past that. Set a challenge last week, which was be as honest as you can without being an asshole. Most of you probably couldn't do it, but for those of you that at least tried, I'm proud of you. Great job. It's not easy to be honest without being an asshole sometimes. If we're being honest here. New challenge for this week coming up is I want everybody, I'm not saying you have to, but I think you should give it a try, is writing down how you feel. Or writing your ideas out, writing your goals, writing what you want, focusing on that. If you've been meditating for the 5 minutes as well, that was one of our challenges that we did. If you've been doing 5 minutes a day, maybe if you moved up to 10, 15, whatever it is, try writing out your ideas, focus on your goals, what you want to do, and kind of just get in the flow of really focusing on that. And then at some point, try to take action. That's a whole nother step for another day. But as of right now, just start writing those things down. Start visualizing what you want in life. If you want to do something, do it. If there's something you really enjoy doing, do it. Start making things happen because it all starts now. It's not tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes because all we have is today. You have right now. Get off your ass. Do what you can do. Do what you want to do. Make your life happen and do what you want.
Yeah. You have nobody stopping you but yourself. There's no reason you shouldn't be able to do these things. Unless you enjoy living a life that is filled with shit that you don't like doing, which is idiotic in my opinion, some people don't have a choice. I guess you get kind of it's easy to back yourself into a wall. It's easy to back yourself into a wall in this life. Sometimes we can not necessarily mature at the right stages and easily fall behind. It doesn't mean you can't catch up or exceed expectations or even win the race that you're putting yourself in. Who knows? Do it.
You could do anything you put your mind to.
Yeah, man.
All right, now that our little speech is over, this is our show, Far From Finished. Thank you for tuning in. So Josh, I hope you've put your jeans on today. Your big boy pants.
I got my Dickie jeans on today.
Hey, you're looking nice too. You're looking real spiffer, dude. I don't know.
Thank you.
Spiffy was the word I was looking for.
It's not
Kind
a
of.
word.
I put spiffy and dapper together.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Spiffer.
That's not okay. I told you could do that.
I did. Looking real spiffer.
All right, yeah.
Heard it here, folks.
That's why they don't have a Daniel's version of the dictionary. Who the fuck would buy that? Spiffer?
Spiffer, sweet.
It's spiffy and dapper combined. That's the definition.
Looking real spiffer today.
The fuck is wrong with
I
you?
think it's a great word.
I hate you for that. Like,
No.
how dare you?
Hey,
Like,
you
just
know
how
what?
dare you?
You can not say it, okay? I'm gonna say it. You can do anything you put your mind to.
Well, I'm gonna ridicule you every time you say it. How about that? I'll put my mind to that.
No, truth be told, you almost can do anything you put your mind to. Not everything.
I mean, yeah. I mean, name a few things that you can't do.
If you put your mind to it. I personally can't fly.
I mean, you can hop in an airplane.
I could do that, but I can't personally grow wings right now. Fly.
I mean, technology could get to a point. Have you seen those, like any of like the rich people that have like a kind of like a mechanical attachment in their arm?
No.
I forgot who it was. I think it was like a rapper or maybe it was like an old basketball. Oh, it was Dennis Rodman. That's who it was. Dennis
Of course.
Rodman.
Of course it'd be Dennis Rodman.
He had like a mechanical like attachment in his arm, or he like I don't know if he clicked a button or if it just like was connected to his like brain that he wanted it to open. But basically, like it like kind of opened and like a cigar came out, and like as it was coming out, it cut the end off, and then like it like he picked it up and then he lit that hoe and then that thing went back when it was his arm again.
So of all the things he could have put into his arm, I mean, I guess to each their own,
It's live.
but he put something that pulls a cigar out of his arm.
Yes. So my point is that who's to say that in a few years they don't have that for the shoulder blades or maybe like or some like mechanical wings like the Falcon dude from the Avengers.
That'd be kind of cool.
I mean,
Right now, we
set
can't
your
do it.
mind to it. See if you can invent that. I'm sure that you can. It's not that. I mean, I don't think I'm the first person to ever come up with that idea. If I am, I mean, don't.
You heard it here
steal
first, folks.
But not-
Wings on the back.
But look, that's what I'm saying. So like, if that's even a thought, then I feel like that thought can be kind of like conceptualized and then turned into reality. Why not?
People do it every day.
I don't have money to fund that project, so go for it. Anybody who's got the money for it, see what happens.
You know what's interesting is that technically, if you put your mind to it, I mean, it's not something that's gonna happen overnight. By the way, don't go thinking you're just gonna and it's all gonna happen overnight. But if you put your mind to it, you can modify your genes and change the way your genes are for future generations and for your own. I know we've talked about it a couple times in past podcasts, but I kind of wanted to go a little bit deeper today because it's just interesting. I think it's awesome. Talk about a couple of things. So it has to do with genes, not your genes that you pull up and put on. I'm sure they look fantastic. But
All right.
genes as in your DNA, pretty crazy. So, you know, what you eat, how you live your life, stress can even change how your genes are. And that can affect your children. If the mom is pregnant with a child, it can affect them. Or if, you know, they're not eating enough, or they're eating too many rich foods, or they're eating too much in general, that can affect the genes of that kid. And then those genes can be passed on to their kid. It can be generational. It goes on for generations and can get encoded into your DNA. So in a sense, you know how people say I have winning DNA?
Yeah.
Some people say I have losing DNA. In a sense, that's kind of true. Because in your DNA, in a sense, it's almost how people talk about your subconscious, right? It's subconsciously you're going to go through certain issues in your life because of things that have happened in previous lives. I said lives. Lives is what I meant to say. So in previous lives, the way that genetics work is that it could pass on to you as a child, and then they could pass that on to their grandchildren. So technically, you can have losing DNA.
Losing DNA?
Yeah.
Like, as in like, it's losing in a race, and like not winning, or you're losing like falling out.
As in you're a loser, like you're losing at life.
Okay.
A losing DNA.
Like a losing mindset.
kind of, but it just more puts you more prone to bad things happening to you, or you to have more diseases, for you to be less fit, we have more allergies, for you to just be set up in a really terrible position based off of things that your parents did, or how they ate, or what kind of stress they were under. And all these things somehow affect how you turn out, or how.
I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense to a degree. I mean, the people that created you, obviously, if they weren't taking care of themselves, then that might have something how you would come out. I mean, that kind of makes sense conceptually, I guess. Biologically, it doesn't really make that much sense.
It does make sense biologically. I mean, these are actually the researchers are doing this research and trying to figure out how genes. They haven't figured out completely, how height works and stuff. They're still trying to figure out how certain. I mean, of course, natural selection. You mate with taller people, you're more likely to have a taller child. But even then, research says if two tall people you also have a just as likely chance to have a medium-sized kid. Just like if two smart people have a kid, that doesn't mean your kid's gonna be smart. You could have a dumb child. And I'm not trying to say, okay, I know dumb's mean, but to be fair, and dumb is a word, and you could have a dumb child. Your child could be not smart at anything and terrible at everything, even though both of your parents are smart.
Right.
It's the way that they live their life, what kind of stress they've gone under, what conditions they're under, what they're eating. And things go into effect. Are you playing music to your child as well? Are you talking to your child? Those things have effects on it. It's weird because your DNA is getting built while you're in the womb. So everything that kind of goes on is affecting how it's built and how it's structured. And there's certain little things that attach to DNA's whatever's going on in the mother's life.
Okay.
Or your dad's genes obviously are going to pass on as well, depending on whatever is going on in their life.
But how does that have I guess that makes sense as far as in the womb and maybe even during your developmental years, but how would you say that just because one improves their life or improves certain aspects of their mind or body, that they're actually changing their genetic code or their genes, whatever you want to call it? How would you say that that's what they're changing? It could just be a altered mindset or an altered state that they're living in.
Because they do the research on how certain genes affect certain people.
What?
In the states that they're in. Because, for instance, stress, right?
Right.
You can be more likely to have stress because of the way that your DNA works. It has a memory. RNA of the DNA. I'm not going to go into specifics because I'm not going to go into a detailed reasoning behind it, but RNA basically is what holds the memory of the DNA.
Okay.
So the way that it works is that the DNA will remember, whatever stress, let's say, that your mom or your dad had.
Mm-hmm. That
DNA is going to be taken, and it's going to remember that. And they can pass that on to the child.
Right.
And the child's DNA will remember that. So it's going to, not necessarily 100%, but you will be more likely prone to anxiety or depression or stress due to the fact that previous people in your family have been also. It's a weird conditioning
thing. So you're saying that it's
because your DNA makes up your body.
So you're potentially saying that if somebody's parents were both extremely stressed out throughout most of their life, that they're essentially almost terminal with issues with anxiety and depression.
I mean, if you put it that kind of
gonna have it type shit.
They're more likely to, yes. The conditions that you're under affect your child and can affect your grandchildren. It's weird what you do now can affect that later. But this is what interests me is because right now, big in the research of genetics period is modifying genetics.
Mm-hmm.
It's learning how can you change the color of a baby's eyes? Can you change the height? Can you change the facial structure? How they're going to look? And they're working on that stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's also scary in a way.
Why?
I mean, because you're going to be, I want to pick this, my kid to have this size. I mean, it could ultimately create, I guess, because it's not necessarily as natural anymore.
That's not necessarily scary.
But it could be good because
driving
you can
a
also.
car isn't natural.
You're right. But I mean, you come out the way that we're conditioned to live at this point is you're born the way you're born. I mean, yeah, you can get things changed on you. You know, people get fake parts on their faces, on their body. You can add different things to your body.
People have fake personalities. They don't even have to go as far as looks go. You can just be a fake person as far as who you are, in today's society. But I don't know what your point is on that.
With the fact that it's scary?
Yeah.
Is it just not? It's because what I was saying. You're conditioned, right? When you grow up, is you're born this way. You should accept who you are because that's what makes us human.
Okay.
And it's kind of weird to say, I'm gonna pick the features of my baby. I guess
Why?
it's cool in an instance.
I mean, we did the same thing to dogs. All dogs came from wolves. Why do we have chihuahuas?
I still think selective breeding's not great. Personally, that's just
what I'm saying.
I don't think selective breeding's
what
great.
I'm saying is you can say that, but do you look at a Rottweiler or a Pit Bull or a Boston Terrier and say like, ew, genetically modified, how, no, you pet it and like, hey buddy, how you doing? You know what I mean? It's like, you could say scary, but like, how scared are you?
So with that, I guess technically it's kind of a crazy concept to think about because it's still technically your kid because they're just modifying the genes that you gave them or the DNA they already had.
Right.
But at the same time, it's not necessarily. I guess what's weird to me is so when you have a kid, the DNA is going to be put together how it wants to. Okay. It's going to form the way it wants to.
Right. Which can cause birth defects and things
exactly.
Of that
but that's
nature.
that's another thing that they're saying is it could have benefits to where they fix a lot of these defects, which people do have problems with, like dwarfism.
Or
dwarfism, it could fix that. But the thing is, people in the dwarf community are saying this isn't a problem.
We're a problem. Yeah, I understand that. But that's what. Okay, so look, my point is that those people can be as offended as they like to be, but at the end of the day, they're not affecting any of those people's kids. So wait, just because you feel like what like your condition isn't a problem because you feel that way, now I should allow my child to be prone to that condition? No. I don't feel like that makes any sense. That's like saying just because you have one leg because you lost one in the war, that means I should go to the hospital and cut mine off too, just so everybody's all on the same page here.
We're all on the equal playing field.
And it's like, fuck that. It's like, do you want equality or do you want justice?
So maybe both. Can we have both, or is that not an option?
I mean, not really. I mean, if you work hard every day, I mean, this is just like, I got this from a comedian named Colin Quinn special. But if you work hard every day, if you do it what you're supposed to do, you give back to your community, you vote, you do everything, you're still gonna have the same stamp on your passport as everybody else in this country. Even the people that don't do a goddamn thing, they sit on the couch all day. They play video games, and I mean, I'm not even talking about professionally, because some people can make hella money playing video games if they're at the upper echelon of like whatever they're doing. But I'm talking about your average 26-year-old living at home, maybe works 2 days a week, doesn't do a goddamn thing, still gets yelled at by his mom to take out the trash and shit like that. Like, your vote is gonna mean just as much as that person. That's equality, not justice.
Fair point. That's a very fair point. So, I mean, you're right. If you have the ability to choose, just to say you can't choose how your kid looks. So, in that aspect, then, if we're looking at modifying kids, on here we like to talk about evolution every now and then, and where we're going. So, okay, we're gonna have AI. So at some point, if we're able to modify our genes, do you think we would just be able to create the ultimate human being?
Isn't that the goal? I mean, otherwise, what are they doing? Like, what's the point of any of the research that they're doing? As far as, like, making, like, sex robots and even just making robots that can do backflips and shit like that. Like, what is the point of that unless you have
something better? Unless
you have an end goal of creating a species better than
the last.
Us.
Well, I guess that would be something that would eventually. What would it eventually lead to us being just?
There has to be
superhuman.
I mean, there were pre-human species, right? Doesn't that necessarily mean that there has to be a post-human species?
No.
Why?
Doesn't mean that it has to be.
Why? I mean, so
Just
far,
because something's leading
so
to something
far
doesn't mean it has
with
to happen.
everything that we've been given scientifically in life, for the most part, everything has a beginning and an end, even stars. Why would we think that we don't? I mean, that's kind of like a shitty way of putting it, but it's kind of the truth. It's
We
like,
don't want it to happen.
it's very entitled of us to think of ourselves as more powerful than a star. Like, are we really that smart? You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Could
We don't
be.
know. We haven't gotten there
Could
yet.
be.
It's a very good possibility.
We're smart enough to create something that is smart enough to do that, or at least durable enough.
Possible.
But I don't know.
So would it, if it's possible for us to reach that limit naturally, to where we can, I guess in a sense, I
What
think
limit?
a little bit of both. I was gonna say to where you can modify your genes without them modifying it, scientifically.
Okay.
It is scientifically, technically still,
It,
but
like using a laboratory.
yeah,
Okay.
and just yourself, focusing on what you do day to day, limiting your stress, trying not to stress out, eating right, exercising, watching what you eat, your intake, what's best for your diet, what's your nutrition looking like, and then on top of that, figuring out, am I more likely to have this? Which in a sense, I guess, is almost similar to doing that in a laboratory, because you're still making these calculations and saying, if I'm with this person, we're more likely to have this, because that's still a possibility. And then if you're taking that risk, you're saying, I'm going to bring a kid in this world if I do have a higher risk of bringing in a kid that's going to have this.
Right.
And you take that risk and it comes out with that,
Mm-hmm.
at that point, that was your decision. So I guess you're still ultimately doing the same thing either way. Just a weird way to think of it when you're sitting there and saying, yeah, doctor, give him blue eyes. That's kind of cool, though. It's a weird thing to think about, in my opinion, but it could work out for the better, depending in the direction we're going in anyways, trying to make the ultimate idea of something.
Yeah. I mean, but that's what I'm saying, is you have to kind of extrapolate it over time to see where it's going, to understand what it is, really. I mean, is, like, you say it's scary. What are you afraid of?
I guess it's just so used to, I'm more of a be as you are, let it be natural kind of thing.
I mean, you walk around with clothes on every day.
You're right. A fair point.
So, I mean, I'm not saying you're changing your eye color or anything like that. But, I mean, kind of, if you put it this way, it's like changing your eye color isn't a new thing. They used to have contacts with different colored eyes. It just wasn't like a permanent thing. Now you might be able to change, like, have that temporary thing become permanent. Like, you kind of was, I feel like whenever you started seeing people walk around with white contacts and it just looked like they had a fucking white eyeball with a super small
it's
pupil, it looked
Hobson.
gross as fuck sometimes. Hobson kind of pulled it off, not gonna lie. But some people just looked ridiculously gross. I'm just like, bro, please don't look at me like for the rest of the day, like type shit. But like, whenever you saw shit like that, you had to understand that it was just gonna get to this point at some time. Like, if somebody was like, I can change my eye color now, maybe that means I can change my kid's eye color too. How can we figure that out?
So will you think it'll get to a point where everyone looks good, like almost a perfect human being, and then at some point the normal kid, haha, you freak, you normie. So because not everyone's gonna want to adjust to that right away. It's gonna take time.
It could
for that
go
to
either
become a
way.
thing.
It could be somebody, like, basically the mass population goes ahead and does that, and the mass population is now looking like that. So you could look down at the other people as, oh, you normie, or they could be unique.
Did you ever read the book The
Ugly
Pretties?
then could become pretty just because they're not perfect. They're imperfect, which makes them unique.
Did you ever read The Pretties?
I think I read The Uglies.
Yes. Okay, Uglies, Pretties. It's part of the same.
It's the same series. Yeah.
This is pretty much a similar concept. Some people found being regular beautiful, but then there were certain people that were chosen, that were the hierarchy, supposedly, that got chosen. You cross over, and they basically do like
a
pretty
procedure.
much procedure to make you pretty.
Right.
And that could be what it comes to. But you're also right. We could see the flaws as something beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting point to think at where it could go. And we're not even going as far as humans. We're doing, I mean, vegetables have already been a thing. Plants,
Right.
how things go, GMOs. A lot of people also have questions about that. Is that going to affect us? Are GMOs going to affect us? Is it affecting our body in any type of way? And the thing is, how crazy that those are also going to be able to aid in us just pushing to be better and to get stronger and whatever, able to put more antioxidants in certain fruits or vegetables, more vitamins in certain vegetables. And yes, there's going to be certain things inside of it that are going to kill insects. And one of the questions that's posed is going to be, is that going to affect us? Not necessarily, because not every poison that's poison to an insect.
It's like there's certain pesticides that only affect certain insects, and you can kind of genetically alter these certain plants or vegetables or fruits or whatever to be able to fight off these pests, basically, from getting into the product.
Yeah, and they're also saying at some point you may be able to genetically modify. They might even have it now. I'm not 100% on this. Is the fact that they have plants that will be able to suck in carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide from the air, which would almost reverse the effects of climate change. So genetically modifying these organisms will not only benefit us, it could help the ecosystem as well. Have you ever watched Chef's Table?
No, what's that?
I believe it's episode 2 on there. I can't remember the guy's name. I really wish. He also did a TED Talk. This man is basically, he's genetically modified his own squash to where it's the most efficient squash. It's not too big, and it holds the most flavor out of any other squash.
Wow.
And on top of that, he's created his own ecosystems, which is helping the surrounding ecosystem as well. Which makes his own food, because he loves food so much and he wants food to taste so good. He does everything in his possible power to make sure that he's doing everything to make that food come out great. So he's feeding these fish the best way possible. He's created whole ecosystems to where it's a perfect cycle, where everybody, like every animal's getting what they need, but it's also starting to affect the outside ecosystem around it, and it's benefiting it.
Okay.
So it's benefiting all the animals and the outside animals as well. So kind of interesting to say, if you really do put things in a research-based area, or you just test those things out and you kind of work it in your advantage to see what the possibility. It's a weird thing to say, I'm going to control nature, but then we have the tools to do it. I think that it could be a beneficial thing. And it is scary because I personally think change is a beautiful thing, but it's scary because you never really know what the outcome is going to be. You just have to wait and see what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah, I guess. I don't necessarily see like designer babies having too much of a difficult like outcome that we won't be able to like reverse or anything like that. I don't necessarily see us getting to a point where the society's based on how you look and things like that. Like as far as like if you don't look perfect, then you're a lower class citizen and things like that. I don't think it's gonna really get to that. Personally, I don't think that this world is gonna allow for that to happen. If it does, it should be fucking hilarious to watch. If somebody told me that I was a lower class citizen just because I wasn't blonde hair, blue eyed, 6 foot tall, whatever, like I'd be like, bro, like, okay.
Talking to yourself at that point.
At that point, it's like, I don't care how you feel about how I look. You can continue putting all of your energy into how you look or how other people look. That's none of my business. I'm gonna continue being productive as a human being. I'm gonna continue loving my people, continue spreading love throughout the universe. But just, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Is like once it gets to a point of like the social hierarchy being based off whether or not you're a designer baby, if it got to that point, I'd just have to laugh at every person I ever met. Like it would just be hilarious. It'd be like living life as the Joker, except not a murderer. You'd just be laughing the whole time.
At everybody for being so silly.
Yeah.
Whoa, watch out, everybody. Look at Mr. Fancy Pants over here.
I just imagine like how you even like gonna cast a role for movies at that point. Like you're just gonna
Everyone's Brad Pitt.
you're
Everyone's George Clooney
gonna
in the
have like
movie.
12 George Clooney's walking in the room. You're like, oh shit.
You're gonna get the same role as me.
As a casting director, you're gonna be like, good voice.
For-
Damn it, I forgot.
You know,
Shit.
for Rick
Clooney
and,
number 4, get in here.
for Rick and Morty being such a silly show, I find myself relating so many things to it. Calling 8 Michael Vincents.
Jan Michael Vincents.
Yeah, Jan Michael Vincents. We need.
Calling all Jan Michael Vincents to Squadron 8.
That's what I'm saying. There's 8 of the same. It's possible. Which brings me to my next point, also relating to Rick and Morty. Do you remember there's an episode where the Intergalactic Federation takes over Earth and they're fed pills?
Right.
Get your daily nutrients for the days. Eat your pills. I mean,
Pill brulee.
You spoil us, Conroy.
Yeah.
So imagine, in this instance, if we're able to modify these vegetables, you're getting most of your nutrients out of very few things at this point. You know, if we're modifying chickens, vegetables, let's say you don't need as much to get more, you know?
Mhm.
Less would be more at that point. What if it
Right.
gets to a point where they put everything into this little pill holds all of your nutrients?
That would be terrible.
It's like eating would be horrible at that. You
No,
don't even have fun.
Eating wouldn't exist.
exist.
You wouldn't eat. You would just take pills. I mean, therefore, you wouldn't ever get the joy of cooking a steak yourself, cooking it to perfection, whipping some nice mashed potatoes, throwing some broccoli in a steamer, maybe have some asparagus. You won't ever have the enjoyment of like being able to cook, like either cook yourself or cook a meal for others, and being able just like to set the meal on the table, like actually be able to smell, like have the sense of smell that you use as a human being, and be able to smell the deliciousness that you're about to consume, the sense of taste. Like you'd lose 2 senses off rip. I mean, maybe you'd still be smelling things, but as far as food goes, like that's a big portion of
Your
like
taste is a whole sense.
right.
That's
All you'd taste is the plasticky coating of the pill.
What if it's a flavor? Spanish flavored pill.
Have you had the Flintstones fucking flavored vitamin pills when you were a kid?
They weren't terrible.
Would you eat them every day for the rest of your life as your meal?
No,
All right.
I wouldn't. No, thank you. I'll have to pass on that one. But you never know.
point.
They could say, "Here's your steak flavored pill for the day." Maybe it explodes flavor into your mouth. It's just, like, you don't get to chew it or anything. It's just like, the taste of delicious Salisbury steak.
No.
That TV dinner pill was
pass.
delicious.
Fucking Hungry Man TV dinner pill. The fuck?
The Hungry Man TV dinner really
Got
hit
that
this-
lean cuisine.
Bro, the kids' cuisines used to hit.
That was probably like
You ever had the pizza ones?
the worst
Nachos?
food that you could ever buy in a
Kids'
fucking grocery
cuisines?
store. Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun package and a fun
You got
time
the little
for
like
the
Cosmo
children.
brownie in one of them. You're all excited.
Yeah.
I want that.
Super fun.
It was great.
The worst nutrition you could ever buy for your children.
That was you being lazy. I don't want to make you a lunch. Here's a kid cuisine.
Fucking cardboard mac and cheese. Fucking
Bon appetit. Eat up.
pizza made out of paper.
Gourmet living out here. Hungry Man's top tier.
Yeah, for a hungry man, I guess. In like Detroit, that has to get like 7 of those.
Hungry
It's
Man's.
just fucking weekly meals.
I'm a hungry man.
Said you meal prep. I just go to the grocery store and pick up some Hungry Mans.
I guess that could be your meal prep. I'm prepping for the week, baby. I'm a hungry man. What it do?
Nah, yeah. That's
But
what I'm saying.
I think it'd be interesting. Vegetables that have everything is an interesting thought. Because if you're getting most of your vitamins out of one vegetable now, what if they're able to manipulate certain proteins?
I mean, I'm sure
inside
that
of
they
meat
will.
to
Aren't they like already able to like create like artificial meat in a lab?
Yeah,
sure
they're
I've
doing
read
Beyond
something
Meat
about
type
that.
stuff where it tastes just like meat, but it's not actual meat.
Well,
But then they're also doing
I
a
mean,
thing now.
like,
What's kind of cool now as well is they're making meat from DNA, or not DNA, parts of a cow, basically. And there might be the DNA. I'm not
what do
sure
you-
on the specifics. They
you trying to
in the
say?
lab they're creating meat from just
That's what I was just saying.
from cows, though. It's from cows, but they're not having to kill cows. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then they are also making artificial meat that's not made from that. It's plants and stuff. And I think there might be one they're making with different other stuff as well.
I don't know. I don't know anything about that, honestly. I just read that they were making meat in labs, which is, I mean, honestly, a start. It's going to end somewhere.
Which is better that way.
I mean,
That'll reduce mass production.
To an extent. That shit's going to be like fucking $700,000 for one hamburger, probably.
I mean, right now, maybe. But when it becomes more accessible.
What I'm saying is the accessibility of it is going to be produced on funds and research. And I guess you could say that research is going to go somewhere eventually. But for you to say that it's going to take out factory farming or mass production of proteins.
Eventually.
This is a hopeful thought.
This is
a very hopeful thought.
Because they will have the proteins. Once again, if they're able to modify these vegetables in these foods, if they're able to put the correct amount, they could say, this is your daily dose that you need. Put that in a food. There's your meal prep, bud.
What I'm saying is that it's not that easy. It's not so easy just to say that we made this pill. Here you go. Have fun. This is all your vitamins. No, you're going to have to pay for that pill. And you're going to need enough of those pills for that to be your meal. Now, for that market to go all the way through the ceiling to be able to take people from going to the grocery stores to going online and paying for those pills, honestly, it's probably going to reach a lot of people, and there's going to be a lot of people that actually do that. But for the most part, I don't think that they're going to take down factory farming. I don't think that they're going to take down mass production of.
If they're able to produce meat in factories, it could get to that point eventually.
I disagree. For the simple fact that for them to be able to produce meat in a lab, you say factories, that's probably not going to be what it is. For it to be a factory, you're going to have to have a lot of scientists and doctors and things like that. It's not going to be just your regular old Ford way of doing work with an assembly line. You're going to have to do a lot of shit. It's going to take a lot of work to get there.
I mean, over time, I'm sure it's going to get easier.
I agree.
I mean, for now, in our lifetime, I'm sure here's a $300 steak for you. Right now, it's probably gonna be a $300 steak.
You're tripping.
$10,000 steak.
You're tripping. You got to put that shit through the roof because they're putting tens of thousands of dollars just into funding this research, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars. Who knows how much money they're putting into this research? Regardless of that fact, what I'm saying is I don't necessarily see them tear down a market like factory farming just for the simple fact that it's been such a big production cost for this country for such a long time.
I think we'll find an alternative. That may not be it as of right now.
I mean,
with time, that's gonna cause more.
Tobacco kills people, and it's still a big cash crop.
Marijuana's making its way up.
It is. It's making its way up tremendously, but that doesn't mean it's gonna take tobacco out of business.
You're right, and they try to come up with new alternatives, but we've seen how that's gone.
Exactly. My point exactly is like, I mean, you can try to take like you even see all the commercials like this can be the generation to stop smoking
every time,
and then the exact commercial after that is, have you tried Juul? And it's like, make up your fucking mind, son. Like, this is a network that's commanding which commercials are being played. Therefore, are you saying that this was a coincidence that you did this? Are you telling me that nobody went over this and saw, hey, maybe we shouldn't put the no smoking right before the smoking? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's what I'm saying. So at this point, you take the funds out of factory farming, you take the market out of factory farming, then you have a chance of beating it. But the fact of the matter is, it's just going to be a little too difficult to do that for this generation.
Yeah, this generation is going to be, we're making progress. I say we're working at a fast rate. I say people are starting to, I'm not going to say woke. I really despise that word now. But
oh my God.
Wake up. I despise the word woke. It's just overused. Just like the word toxic. The word toxic, I despise that word now as well. I say it with satire at this point. Not serious.
Oh my God.
It's so toxic right now.
Pretty toxic.
Hey, woke. He's like, literally, when it's used in the same paragraph, it's the word.
I thought you were woke, bro, but you're being really toxic right now.
Exactly.
I don't care. People can say whatever they want. I'm just going to make fun of you if you do.
I still despise those words.
But
I'd say more people are waking up to the fact that we have knowledge at our fingertips and realizing, hey, we might die soon because we're destroying things that make us live, or
Right.
destroying the things around us that are going to cause us, or even if it is just the planet acting up, I guarantee there's some way we could figure out how to survive.
I mean,
We've used up a lot of resources, though.
first of all, it's proven fact that it's not just the planet acting up. We are completely.
We're
in control
definitely
of
contributing a
climate
lot.
Change. Not control of climate change. We're responsible for. I mean, at this point, it's like you can try to say that we're not. Look, this is what I'm saying. So, like, basically, all the people that are like, no, science is wrong, climate change isn't real, da 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 da. It's like you understand that you get to say science is wrong because science gave you the option to use a telephone that can connect to the internet, and you can now talk to whoever you want on the face of this earth and get to tell them that science is wrong. You're using science to say that science is wrong. Good job, bud. You're a real credible source, son.
Right. It makes me think of the BoJack Horseman episode where he says yes to fracking because he just wants everyone's approval. He's running for mayor. It's Mr. Peanut Butter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yes to fracking, and they're fracking in his backyard for oil. And while he's having, whatever the politicians have, where everyone gets together, say, we're going to support you. We're going to give you this much money. He talks to people, shakes hands, smiles. Little party, little soiree going on.
Right.
During that part, is there an earthquake? And then the whole house goes in. Like, no one dies, but the whole house just
like falls through
the ground.
Damn.
What caused that? I don't know, bud. Maybe it was the fracking going on in your backyard. Probably wasn't the best idea for the land around you, but
No, it couldn't have been that. Go fracking.
Exactly. There's no way that caused the problems in the exact area where a lot of it's going on.
There's no way that car outside my house that was my car yesterday that looks crashed today was crashed by me. That can't be my car. Who crashed that car? Not me. It wasn't me. Who did that? Like, who stole my car and crashed it? Like, mister, did you really call us over here for that? You fucking piece of shit.
It's just, that's what it is, though. We're not doing that. It couldn't be us, even though all the signs point to what it is. Oh, you're telling me that everything's saying it's that? That's fake. There's no way. You're telling me I'm at fault for my own problems?
How dare you? Who do you think you are? Who died and made you God?
You think I'm in control of my actions? I'll think again.
I mean, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck and it looks like a duck, I mean, it's not a squirrel. So let's just get that clear. It's probably a fucking duck. Therefore, if you guys are making some things happen in your life, like fucking contributing to climate change in any way, maybe you shouldn't complain about climate change. Just understand that you're contributing to it. Therefore, you don't get to complain about it. It's like saying, I gave Donald Trump $200,000 for his campaign. But fuck that guy. I hate everything he's doing. What a fucking piece of shit. Worst president we've ever had. And it's like, I mean, you kind of put him there, son. But like, you don't really get to talk on this one. You get to have an opinion, but you get to keep it to yourself at that point. Like, if you're a major contributor to climate change, even addressing climate change is not even necessary at that point. Like, you can address it, but don't even try to act like you're not contributing to that shit, because as soon as you do, it's like, what the fuck? Are you kidding? Like, brother, let's just take a look at the statistics here.
Keyboard warriors.
Right.
You can say I'm trying. You can say I'm attempting to make a change or I'm working on it. But if you're over here just saying, "What are the people doing? We should be doing something." First of all, who is we? Don't drag me. Don't get me wrong. I'm a firm believer. Absolutely, we should all work better to make this world better. Because if you're gonna bring children into a dying world, that's selfish of you. But don't just go around saying we around here and saying we need to do this. First of all,
say it's selfish to bring children into a dying world. Is that what you said?
If you're not worried about it, you say, "Oh, it's gonna be fine." And they'll worry about it later. The next generation. Then you bring a kid.
It's not that selfish. How's that selfish?
To say, "Hey."
I mean, it's not great.
Okay.
It's not great.
Here it is. It's like, you know what? I really want to know what the inside of that room looks like. There's a bunch of people with guns in there. Could you go look in there for me real quick? I don't want to go in there because it's not really my problem right now. I mean, I do want to see what it's going to look like, but could you go in that room for me real quick?
Right.
Knowing that they could potentially die just because you want to see the room.
Okay, so look, first of all, even if life was fucking beautiful and nobody ever had a problem with anyone in the world, you could still have a child and that person get hit by a bus. It's like you're not in control of the next generation's actions or really anything. You can do what you can for yourself and your family. You try to help your community, but like at the end of the day, just a single person is not responsible for the entire future of the human race, unless you're like extremely all powerful and you have like psychic abilities where you can fucking control the waters of the seas with your mind or whatever. I don't know. What I'm saying is, if you're saying that having children in a dying world is selfish, fuck no, man. If it's a dying world, I'm having kids just so I'm like maybe
Let my legacy live on.
that or maybe it's like, man, I mean, maybe I can at least experience what it's like to be a father before I fucking die.
So that's not selfish.
I guess that's a bit selfish, but that's not selfish to say that I would like my kids to go walk into the fire because I'm not gonna do it. That's a whole different take. That's like saying, okay, so look, it's selfish to own a farm and have children to help you work on the farm just because you're lazy and don't want to hire people to do it for money. That's selfish. Having a child because you want to experience life as a father, that's not selfish. That's living your best life. That's procreating, which some people say is people that have children have said that procreating can be, and a lot of people do believe it as the meaning of life, the life's purpose. Procreating, what's the word? Like raising a child. Like that's some people, in their opinion, that's their purpose of life. And talk to fathers and talk to mothers that actually are there for their children. Obviously, don't talk to deadbeats because they don't give a fuck about their life that they created. But talk to people that care about their children and see how much like that child changed their life. It's like if I'm selfish just because I want to experience that for myself, or maybe even have my mother see a grandchild before she dies. Like, I'm not, call me selfish all you want. Fuck you. I'm just trying to do what I can over here. Type shit.
I respect it, but yes, I'm still gonna stand on my point. The fact that it is selfish.
Disagree.
But I'll respect the statement.
First of all,
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. But
how do you get to be alive and breathing and say that procreating is selfish?
I would agree.
Well, procreation got you here and allowed you to be able to say whatever the fuck you want.
Fair point.
So therefore, was your mother selfish for having you?
No,
in a dying world.
Some people would beg to differ, though. Some people would say, "God damn it, why did you do this to me?"
Well, those people are probably unappreciative of the opportunities they have in front of them.
What if they they're 10 years into their lives? All right, warning, we're all gonna die due to climate change. I said, thanks, Pa.
I mean, at that point, if I'm 10 years old. Hey, at least we got this on the fucking phones. That's kind of lit. Hey, I think this host's still recording though. Yeah, this host's still recording.
Yeah, thank God we do this on a laptop.
Yo. Hey, we just had a power outage here at the Cribbo in the studio, so we just had a little mishap, but we're back at it and going crazy still. Fuck, that was crazy.
Yo, that was wild. As soon as I walked out here and everything.
Yeah.
Good stuff, boys. I'll get back to it.
Wow.
Okay, so
what was I saying?
You're talking about I was saying it's selfish, and you're saying just.
All right, bet. So like, fuck. Basically, I was trying to say is like, how can somebody say that it's selfish for you to procreate if that person was procreated in a world that wasn't really great? Oh, I remember what you were saying. You're saying some people like kind of are like, why would you do this to me? Why I didn't ask to be born and shit like that. It's like, well, those people, like I said, those people probably don't understand the opportunities they have in front of them. Probably very like self. What's the word whenever you kind of like attack yourself?
Self-harm is one way, I guess.
Kind of like that. I meant like
self-deprecating.
That works, yeah. Psychologically, when you tell yourself that you can't do something, it allows you to close off opportunities in your life. Therefore, it makes life seem like it's not necessarily worth living anymore. because you don't have opportunity, which it's a world of opportunity. If you don't have any, then do you belong in this world? Like, no. But why do you? Maybe you should kind of like depict why you don't have opportunity. Is that because the world doesn't really have any opportunity for you? Is because you haven't been able to work hard enough at anything to create it for yourself?
We also are blessed to say that as well. Not everyone does have opportunities.
I
There's certain parts of the world where, I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of countries definitely have the opportunity, but there are certain places where you might not have that per se.
I would agree that certain places don't have certain freedoms, but I would also argue that most of those places still have happy people that know how to prosper and know how to live their life and help their family and community in the same way that we preach on this very show.
You know what this makes me think of? Is One Punch Man.
Okay.
The episode where it's the guy who's really worried about evolution.
Yeah.
He's creating the strongest
House of Evolution.
House of Evolution. Strongest creatures. Right? Like his strongest creature that he keeps down, locked up in the body. I'm just ready to kill.
Carnage Kabuto.
And then One Punch Man said, "Yeah, what am I doing here? Hey, what's up?"
No, yeah.
And then he defeat. You know, he's a human. He said, "I did 100 push-ups,
100 sit-ups.
You know, all that, and then
5K. Fucking
defeats the monster.
Pull-up.
Yeah, one punch.
Right.
And then he said, "You can do all the science you want to, but you know, one thing is, you always have the ability to change yourself."
Right.
And that's what makes us human. It was hilarious. I mean, it was real.
It was real.
That was one of the funniest scenes I had ever seen because this guy was just.
He said, and then at the end of the scene, whenever they walked out, the guy, he's like, maybe it's time for me to stop worrying about evolution, and maybe I need to learn how to change myself. That's real as fuck.
It is. I mean, because if you're stuck on worrying about changing everything else,
you can't revolutionize your own situation unless you evolutionize yourself.
Exactly. You're not gonna be able to change anything around you until you learn how to change yourself.
Yeah.
It's crazy though. It just I thought about that scene so much because, you know, the whole point was evolutionizing genes,
right?
You know, and changing all these things about humans and whatever else he had, putting them together and creating these monsters,
right?
And you know, it's funny because you can technically change your genes and change yourself all at the same time. With the power of the human mind, you can do anything you put your mind to.
Yeah. I mean, I would put it this way. It's a lot easier to not do anything than to do everything that you want to do. A lot easier to sit down and say, woe is me, I'm not going to get that job offer, or I'm not going to get that girl, or I'm not going to get whatever, that car, that house, that opportunity. You can tell yourself that all day and night. But that's the first step to not getting it, is allowing yourself to see it as a out of reach, seeing it as something that you can't really make anything happen to be able to get to a position to actually provide for that. So therefore, whenever you're doing such a thing, you're actually putting more effort in not getting what you want than you are putting in effort to get what you want, which is a strange thing, but people do it often.
Exactly. It's all about self-accountability and understanding.
Yeah.
And also it's understanding that every situation's not always going to be in your favor.
Right.
Yeah, I honestly, there was a situation I was in recently. I don't really want to go into detail because I was taken aback by it. But people put themselves in situations and then they wonder, why does this keep happening to me? Focus on yourself. What do you really want from yourself? And don't allow anything other than that. What do you really want for yourself? If you're deviating from that and then you wonder why things are happening, at that point, what are you asking for?
Right.
What do you want? You're saying, this is what I want, and then nothing goes the way you want, and you still allow it to happen, and then when it goes to shit, you sit there and say, I can't believe what happened. What? Whoa.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it's like there's like an old saying that I would get told in Catholic school and shit. It's like God doesn't answer your prayers with what you ask for; He answers it with an opportunity to go get what you ask for. I always thought that was kind of bullshit. I was personally, I was like, I mean, first of all, if I'm asking God for anything that I couldn't go get myself, I'm wasting my time. Therefore, why would I even do that? If I know that there's like what I'm saying is that if there's something that I wanted in my life for myself or for my family, or if I wanted like something to happen, like back then I would pray to God that it would happen. Whenever they started teaching me about this shit, I was just like, this is fucking stupid. Fuck y'all are, but telling me that if I don't pray to God, that's a sin. But when I do pray to God, my prayers aren't going to be answered with things that are like, basically He's not going to answer my prayers. He's just going to give me an opportunity for me to answer them myself. All right, yeah, fuck that. I'll just skip the first part, get the opportunity, succeed, and move forward.
So what you're telling me is strive for success.
It's like,
and put myself in the opportunity to be great.
it's like you're telling me there's a middleman to success and he lives in the sky. You like what? I gotta go through God and make sure like everything's cool before the opportunity presents itself. I found that ridiculous, so I continued to try out my theory. It was completely unnecessary to do step 1 and 2. Step 3, the opportunity came. I mean, when I say the opportunity comes, I don't mean somebody knocks on your front door, says, "Hello, Mr. Moreno. Nice to meet you. Never met you one day in my life. Never heard about you. Never heard, like, I haven't seen your record. I haven't seen your high school statistics. I haven't seen anything about your college. I've never heard of you. Would you like a 6-figure job? Would you like a new car? Would you like a model girlfriend and somebody that's going to cook for you every day and you can trust her with all your heart? Somebody that you can build a family with." It's like, bro, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll take all of that. Like, what are you talking about? Like, for sure. That's not going to happen, son.
Hey,
People aren't just going to come to you with opportunity and just say, all your questions have been answered by me. You're welcome. You owe me nothing in return. I'll be on my way. Enjoy your new life full of everything you ever wanted.
You know what they call
That's
those
not
people?
going to happen, son.
Scam artists.
Right.
That's
Yes.
what they call those.
Right. But what I'm saying is that's not going to happen. Therefore, you have to understand opportunity as a different thing. Opportunity is going to be more of a, it's not going to be a job offer. It's going to be you understanding that maybe that's something that you would want to do. You still have to go and find that opportunity. You have to go find the company that's hiring that. You still got to put your resume in. Show up with the fucking spiffy ass outfit or spiffer ass outfit like this fucking idiot over here said. What I'm saying is basically you still got to do what it takes to succeed. It's not just going to happen just because something, like, just because the dominoes lined up and fell all in order doesn't mean that everything's just going to be perfect. You still have to put the work in. You still have to put the time in and understand what you want. Go for it and stop being a bitch and actually do what you actually want to do.
I'm posing a question. This is actually just going off the walls here real quick. I might lose a couple people here, regardless of the fact when you were saying that. So if we were to make super genes, if we're actually able to modify ourselves, do you think at some point, because we've talked about manifestation, would that be a possibility? You sit there, just pray on it. I want $1 million.
No.
Just attracted.
No, son.
It just all
No.
comes.
First of all, if you find $1 million on the street and you pick it up and you take it home, you're likely to be killed within the next 3 days because that's somebody's $1 million.
Do you think we could get superpowers?
No.
I think that's a possibility.
No.
If we evolve to that point, if we're able to genetically modify certain people's genes, do you think we have to evolve to somewhere? Do you think it'd be to where we each just master our minds
No.
and our bodies, super strength, super speed?
No.
You don't think we'd be able to just have super speed? You know, really agile, building super strong, agile legs?
Building super strong. What are you
genetics,
talking about?
Would you maybe be able to make genetics where you're fast, super fast?
There's a human dilemma. If we want to create a species that has super strength or super
who's to say we can't? We haven't broken our own boundaries just yet, so who's to say?
Science.
But it hasn't. We haven't completely initiated the process of genetically modified people yet.
First of all, yes. What I'm saying is that okay. So look, genetically modified people would be created by us, which would be kind of a secondary species in a way.
We're still human.
Kind of depends on what kind of things they're allowed to modify.
And then what I'm saying is,
What if they can modify death and make it non-existent? Therefore, you grow until you're about 25, and then you live the rest of your life.
what was
At
that movie?
25.
What
It was called Time, but that was
perfect, we're on the
different.
same page. Yeah.
That was different. That movie was you on your 21st or 25th birthday. Your clock starts. You're like in the higher classes, you get more time. The lower your time goes, the more worried you are about how much time you can get, whether or
Great
not
start,
you can get it from.
because then you really had to think about how you were spending your time.
Correct. But what I'm saying is that would it not be an entirely new species if you could make death just a condition that you can fix?
Would it get to that point though? Or
Yes.
Logan's Run was in a movie a long time ago, which was, you know, at a certain age, they would take you away.
Okay.
You would die. You know, basically, when you got to 25, it was an age around that time as well.
Okay.
You would be, they're killing you pretty
Okay.
much. You're getting euthanized
Okay.
and dying.
Right.
You think at some point we're not gonna die, or we'll get to a point where humans are living so long is your time's up, pal.
I think that if they can create death to be a condition that is solvable by science, then we can create a species that can do certain things super fast or have super strength. I think if you can defy death, you can probably defy many other concepts of the human limitation. Now, to say that Daniel Velasquez can train his brain so well that he can run faster than Usain Bolt
I mean, right now, no.
or win
I'm saying
in your lifetime,
I'm saying when genetically modified people become a thing, do you think that'd be a
I
thing?
mean, they're probably already gonna become a thing with designer babies and all that shit. That's gonna go somewhere. I don't know if like I said, like I don't know if you would really like. I guess it's gonna become a point of emphasis later on whenever those, I guess, genetically modified people are eventually born and grow up and are allowed to have a voice in society, I guess. My point is that I'm gonna personally view that as a different species. Like you said, it's not necessarily natural. It's not. Nothing in this world is really natural anymore. Not that many things, but that doesn't mean it's the same.
It's different.
It's different.
Different thing.
It's a different thing. So I wouldn't necessarily categorize it as
I always think of the scientists who experiment on humans to make a super strong human.
right.
I'm saying is if you're able to put certain antioxidants into certain fruits that don't have it necessarily, or put more in there, or more proteins, more vitamins, when they're genetically modifying humans, you know, certain features, we're gonna put more of this in there. You know, just
No.
like it comes out.
I mean, maybe. But they
don't know how to do it yet.
They already have super buff people. I mean, like that's not like
But I'm
super
saying just-
like unnatural.
You know, you punch.
What would be unnatural is punching through a titanium wall.
possible? Not now.
What?
Not
What?
now. Not now.
What?
I'm saying it could get to a possible.
Are you gonna have titanium bones, son? Because your hand's breaking. I don't care how strong you are. This is what I'm saying. Like, no, son, no. That's gonna be a wall, and it's not gonna dent. It's gonna dent your hand first before it dents the wall.
It's an interesting concept if they do.
Or even super speed is like, you honestly, like, you can theorize all you want, but honestly, do you really think the human race is ever going to get to a point where any average Joe can just press a button on their watch and just Usain Bolt out of nowhere? No.
I hope so.
Sorry, son.
That'd be awesome.
It would be awesome. I'd rather figure out teleportation, though. That would be a lot more simple,
So-
and I'm a little bit more lazy, so that'd be way better. Fuck
Everyone
exercise and
wins.
just boom, I'm out of there.
So-
Son, bye-bye.
Would we live in a society at this point? AI is coming out, GMOs, regular humans. Are we all just? You think it'd just be like a happy society? We're all living together. High five.
Fuck no.
Like Futurama. You think it'd be on some Futurama?
No, I think. Oh, I never watched Futurama
You never
that
did?
much. No,
shit? They lived amongst the robots. There's different species of robots. Everyone just kind of. There was aliens.
I mean, probably something like that. I would assume it would get to a point where there's not just a social hierarchy, but also a monarchy as far as like we're better than you because we're genetically modified. Therefore, I think it could get to a point where I don't know. I mean, it would take a lot. It would take a lot. It would take us creating something that we can't control, that understands that it's better than us, and understands that we are the least amount of productive of any race that humans could possibly be. Like if you had an extrapolation of 6 different types of humans just genetically modified like different ways, like you would have us, like it wouldn't just be like, hey, we're all human, high five. It would be like, nigga, it'd be like I'm number 6, you number 1, dog. Like you're not on my level. You got to get to 2, then you got to get to 3, then you got to get to 4. Once you get to 4, then you can start talking to the 5s. But see, I'm a 6, so get out of my area.
I'm the supreme human.
You know what I mean?
Ah.
Like, I think people are so dramatic with the get off my lawn that it would be so simple for them to be like, oh, you're a class E human? Oh yeah, get out of here, son. Bye. You mean nothing to me. You're trash.
I'm an
like,
OG.
I feel like people would get to that point, and it's like it's sad.
OG.
It's sad to say, but like I said earlier, it would either become that or it would be flip flop. Like the people that never had anything done would be like if we were, it would be like the flip flop. Like if we were actually able to control every aspect of it and create something that respected us as a necessary, I would say a necessary evil, just because we are kind of an evil to this earth, but a necessary evil. If they saw us as that, then we could create maybe a hierarchy where the uniqueness and like normalcy of being human is actually respected more than the perfection. The imperfections are respected more than the perfection in that way. I don't know. But it's only gonna go one of two ways.
I'm saying.
I don't think anybody's gonna be like, high five, human B. We're all doing fantastic over here.
We're all different breeds of humans. Not. It's funny though.
It's just gonna be another case of Morty's killing Mortys.
We're definitely. I'm definitely looking on, just the dreaming big here, because I mean, right now we're still learning little things about genes and how to change them. We didn't learn that long ago that you could change your genes in the first place. You're not stuck with every. There are certain genes you can't necessarily change, but there are certain parts of your genes that you can change. And the fact that that's even a discovery in itself, to know that we not that long ago. Once again, if you listen to the last podcast, 0.01% of a positive sum world where we're at here, where it could go. Possibilities at this point are endless.
Right.
So many possibilities. I'm sure some AI out there will figure it out when it's made. It's gonna, the best possibility at this point, most efficient, is gonna be if we just do it this way. Cut out all the other shit. Stupid. I'm just saying. I've already limited out all the other possibilities.
Right.
Let's just run it like this.
Yeah. To bring back an earlier point about having children, I would say that it's a little bit more selfless as far as like the world goes. In an aspect of like, as a human, you have about 80 years to 85 years maximum to put your footprint and full impact on everything that's happening and the way that life happens and society works. So, in a way, influential as you are, you could have the possibility of creating children that could pass on your legacy. When I say pass on your legacy, I don't necessarily just mean to write an autobiography or a biography, whatever you would call a biopic, or anything like that. I mean, like, to take your methods and your science and your research and your tactics, the way that you lived your life, if they believe in it, if it's actually something that you believe in and it is actually helpful for the rest of the society, how are you going to implement that after you die?
So the legacy lives on.
Shut the fuck up. But that's my point. It's like it can be just as selfless as it is selfish. Because I could say that it's selfish in the way that I would be allowing my legacy to push forward. So it's selfish of me to think that that's the right way, like that I know what life should be like. But if it is actually working and it is actually something that's better for the human race and Earth as a whole, then it is actually selfless in that way.
Good point.
Thank you.
You make some good points. Sometimes. I don't always agree with you. But when I do, it annoys me more than anything.
I don't always care.
Good
whether
job.
or not you agree.
You know, you hardly ever do you care if we agree or not. That's not what we're here for. We're not here to agree.
We're here to agree to disagree.
Because this is our podcast, Agree to Disagree.
God,
I'm
what
kidding.
the
That's
fuck?
not. I hope if you skip to the end, that's not what you heard, because that's not the name of the podcast.
You're silly.
If you got anything from this, the world's coming fast at everybody. Jeans are changing. Buy some new ones. Get some new ones. Mom jeans, dad jeans.
Boot cut.
Jeans. We got all the jeans for sale. Discount price at your local retail store. But the world's changing. People are changing. We're making things happen. But more importantly, never forget, you can change yourself. Literally without any modifications, you can change your genes. And you can change your kids' lives, your grandkids' lives. Hell, we're going to be changing the way we eat before too long at this point. So,
Well, you can do that already. Change your diet. If you're eating like shit, that's probably a big portion of your uncomfortableness in your feelings and how you live your life. As well as stop stressing yourself out so much. I mean, unless you're in a situation where people are depending on you, life or death, and you don't have your shit together. Well, first of all, get your shit together. Second of all, if you're not in that situation, nothing's really going on that serious in your life. You just gotta take control of everything. Understand that bad things happen sometimes, but it's not about what happens, it's about how you react to what happens. You don't want to be known as the guy who went viral for fucking breaking down in a train station because of his girlfriend left him or some shit. You don't want to be that guy. Promise you.
there's definitely worse you could be, but definitely.
I mean, there's definitely worse. I was just keeping it clean.
Don't be that guy.
But
Don't be R. Kelly either.
Definitely don't do that.
Don't be that guy.
Fuck, goddamn.
Don't be that guy.
That's a little bit extreme. But basically, I'm trying to say is like none of this shit that's potentially stressing you out that you allow to say fuck, goddamn it, shit, dude. And just like think about how many times you say fuck to yourself all day. Like that shit really actually matter. Or you just kind of frustrated.
Exactly.
Figure out your frustrations and solve them. Don't just allow yourself to feel uncomfortable every single day of your life. It's not healthy.
Greatest part about being human is the ability to change ourselves, and from there change the world around us. I feel like that might be a quote. I'm not too sure. Probably is somewhere. But thank you, everybody. That's where we're going to wrap up. I hope everyone enjoyed what you listened to today. Thank all of you. And don't forget, we're here if you ever want to talk to anybody. Safe space. We're all here to learn and to grow. We don't take sensitivity very well here. It's okay to be sensitive and to have emotions, but also learn to take straightforward words. Learn how to take constructive criticism. We will not. We're nice, but we're not gonna beat around the bush. Say, so you can definitely talk to us about anything. We're open communication. We want your feedback. We want to know how you feel. We hope that these challenges that we give you, we hope you're progressing as you listen. We're all here to grow together. This is a community. We want the best for everyone out there, and we thank every single person that does listen. It means a lot to us. And with that being said, continue with the challenges. If you don't remember what this week's was, it was just write down your goals, write down things that you want to do, write down just things you've done in your day. Start visualizing what you want. Take those little steps. Start making a change with yourself. It's all about what you do now. Tomorrow doesn't exist. Only today does.
Right. You can't really guarantee tomorrow anyways. But if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or any topics you'd like to hear our opinions on, anything you'd like to discuss, maybe give us some ideas to help you guys help better understand our point of view on life and society and where we can go from here.
Thank you for listening to us babble for an hour to an hour and a half and talk about different things. We really enjoy it, and we really enjoy hanging out with all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is our podcast, Far From Finished. Love to all of you. Take care.
Thanks again to Chance and Joel for allowing us to get this shit going. About to drop this podcast. I believe we're dropping this one on Monday. I believe
We're dropping them on every Wednesday.
every
Good
Wednesday.
job. Good job.
Oh, it's Wednesdays, right?
Good job.
Right.
Every Wednesday we'll be dropping it. Spotify, Google Play Music, iTunes, YouTube,
Probably some clips and shit on Twitter.
Twitter,
Follow us.
Instagram at Finish From Far, Twitter at Finish From Far.
Like
So,
and subscribe, whatever you guys see to be fit as far as your entertainment goes. And keep the train rolling along. We're conducting this big old train here. If you guys want to hop on, this bitch is gonna keep moving.
chugga choo choo. And it's not about image. Just remember that. We don't pretend to be anybody. Be yourself.
Yeah. Even if people tell you you're an asshole, find out why you're an asshole. Maybe change that shit. But don't ever not be yourself.
So for everyone out there, we're not here for image. We're here for content.
One man's trash is another man's treasure. And we'll leave you with that. Bye bye.